Hello, this is going to be a 100 word per minute Q&A. When my hand is up, it's question, and when my hand is down, it's answer. Okay, and we'll begin. Did you wear gloves while giving reports to each other? No, sir. After you tested positive for COVID on August 3rd of 2020, or sorry, scratch that. What caused you to get a COVID test before August 3rd, 2020? It was mandatory. Were you having any symptoms at the time? I was having symptoms, yes, sir. What symptoms were you having? Fatigue, cold symptoms, runny nose, coughing, a tickling sensation in my nose. And after you tested positive for COVID on August 3, 2020, did you have any additional symptoms? The loss of taste, shortness of breath, low-grade temp. Between when your symptoms started and when you tested positive for COVID, did you seek medical attention? No, sir. After testing positive, did you seek medical attention? No, sir. Since you tested positive for COVID, have you sought any medical treatment? No, sir. Did you end up testing negative for COVID? Yes, sir. What date did you test negative for COVID? August 17th. Did you have to pay for either COVID test? No, sir. Since you tested positive for COVID on August 3rd, 2020, have you returned back to work at ASE? Yes, sir. When did you return back to work at ASE? I returned back on August 14th. You returned back before you tested negative for COVID? Yes, sir. When did you take your test that came up negative for COVID? That Monday, August 17th. How did you return back to work on August 14th, 2020, before you tested negative for COVID? My administrator called me and said that I could return back on Friday, August 14th. When you returned back to work, were you still having any symptoms? Yes, sir. What symptoms were you still having when you returned back to work? Shortness of breath and loss of taste. When you returned back to work, what job were you performing? LPN. Were you still earning the same rate of pay? Yes, sir. Were you still working the same number of hours? No, sir. How many hours were you working when you returned back to work? Probably like 24 a week. How many hours are you currently working per week? None. Did you resign or were you terminated? I resigned. When did you resign? August 25th. Why did you resign on August 25th? Fearful of getting COVID again. After you tested positive for COVID, did anyone in your house test positive for COVID? No. Have you applied for any new jobs since you resigned from ASE? Yes. What jobs have you applied for? LPN jobs. Have you received any job interviews? Yes. Have you received any job offers? Repeat your question. Have you received any job offers? Yes. Did you accept the offer? No. Who did you receive an offer from? I received an offer from Rosewood Manor. Why did you not accept the job? Still fearful. I want to work nursing, but I'm afraid. How many jobs have you applied for since you resigned? At least 5. Are you still having any symptoms today? Just slight, no sense of taste. My tasting isn't the same. Have you ever had a loss of taste before testing positive for COVID on August 3rd, 2020? No, sir. Okay, that's the end of this take. Remember to review your notes.